Alright, in this video we will look at solving quadratic equations. Solving quadratic equations. A quadratic equation is an equation that has x squared, and also the graph of a quadratic, if you remember, it's a curve like this, it's a parabola. So yeah. Alright, the first question says, what is the solution set for the equation? So Desmos does a wonderful job in solving this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug my equation in Desmos. Okay, so I'm just going to do 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. And then I'll go ahead and put the equal 0 part as well. And then there you go. There are my two solutions. My first solution is 0.5, which is basically 1/2. And then you have 1. Those are my two solutions. It's going to be D. Okay. I will also do this question by hand, just so you have it. I'm not going to record that part because I don't want this video to be too long. I'll just work it out, and then you can take a look. You can pause the video and take a look. All right, here I factored it out by grouping. And we got the same answers, x equals 1 and x equals 1/2. Okay. All right, next one. It says, what is the solution set for the equation? So I'll go ahead and solve this one in Desmos as well. Just plug it in. Again, when do you know what to do in Desmos? In this one, whenever it's asking you to solve or find the solution for an equation, you can just put it in Desmos. Desmos does an excellent job of solving it for you. So here is -5 and -3. Those are my solutions. -5 and -3. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and write out how to do this by hand. Well, let me just show you. Here, because it's already factored, a lot of the work is done for you. So now all you have to do is set each factor equal to 0. Okay. On this equation, it wasn't in factored form, right? So I had to first take this, put it in factored form, and then solve it. But in this equation, this is already in factored form. So all I have to do is set each factor equal to 0 and then solve. So you have x equals -5. That's my first answer. And then x equals to -3. And that's my other answer. Okay? All right. But honestly, for Desmos or for SOL, please just make sure to graph it and find your solutions first. Okay? All right, number 3, the graph of y equals -x squared minus 2x plus 8 is shown. So here's the graph. Identify each of the solutions. So remember, solutions is what we've been doing, is always crosses the x-axis, okay? Only the x-axis. I don't care about the y-axis. I only care about the x-axis. So it looks like the solution is a -4 and +2. That's it. All right, number 4. It says here the dimensions of a rectangle are shown in the drawing below. So you have a rectangle, you have your length, and you have your width. If the area is 28 square units, what is the value of D? Okay, so I don't have an equation, but I'll go ahead and find one here. So you may know that the area is equal to the length multiplied by your width. And we know that the area is 28, so I already know what the area is. I just need to know what D is right here. So I'll go ahead and do the length, which is D. So this length right here, this is the length, which is equal to D, times the width, which is this right here, D minus 12. Okay, so this is my equation. At this point, honestly, I can just plug it in Desmos and find what D is equal to, which is exactly what I'll do. Okay, that's our equation. Now, when I plug this equation in Desmos and solve for D, I hope by now you know that it's not going to help me if I put D, right? Because I'm trying to graph my solution. So, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to go ahead and change this to an X so that it graphs my solution, okay? So D is equal to, well, I have two solutions, -2 and +14. So D is equal to -2, and also D is equal to +14. Well, which one do I choose? Do I choose the 14 to what? Well, remember that when you're looking at a length, it always has to be a positive number, okay? I cannot have a negative length, right? I can't, it's just not possible. So just choose the positive one, okay? All right, I'm just gonna backtrack here and show you how to, I'm gonna work this out without using Desmos, and you can pause the video and just look at the steps to see, okay? There you go. I did this by hand, and again, remember, I'm going to go ahead and choose the positive answer. All right, number 5. Tina took a hot air balloon ride. She was excited when she leaned over. She was excited, and then when she leaned over the edge to look out, she fell. No, she didn't fall out. Good thing. She dropped the disposable camera she was holding. Phew. Okay. The formula below relates the camera's height in feet above the ground and the amount of time t in seconds it has been falling. So basically, Tina, who's really clumsy, the camera, it fell, and it looks like it just did something like that, okay? And here's the formula. And it says, how long did it take to hit the ground? So here is the ground, and we want to check this, okay? So this, you can see that this is nothing but the x-axis, right, or the solution. I can definitely graph this parabola and see at what time it hit the ground. So let me go ahead and graph this parabola. Just gonna graph the h equals t squared minus 5t. I might have to change it to x and y. Oh, no, I don't. It actually graphed it. Okay, I'll take that. That's fine. I don't have to put the x. So it looks like it hit the ground. It's not going to be the negative one, right? Because we don't have negative time. We have just a positive time at 3.38 seconds. 3.38 seconds. That's about 3.4 seconds. Okay? There you go. All right, which shows the correct solution? All right, I'm just going to plug it in. Find my solution. So 2 over 3 x squared minus 10 equals 0. All right, so I have some weird looking answers here. So how do I know how to find this answer over here? Well, what I can do is I can go ahead and graph the answer choices. So you have x equals 15. Yeah, that's one of my answers, right? No, it's not. It's not even close. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's not my answer. Maybe it's x equals square root of 15. Let me check. Square root of 15. Yeah, that's one of my answers. But that's not my only answer, right? I have 2 solutions here. So this cannot be it, even though that's one of my answers. X equals 15. It's not one. So it has to be x equals square root of 15. And x equals square root of, or negative square root of 15. There you go. Those are my 2 answers. There's one, and then there's the other one. Okay? So it's D. Now, I do want to take a second to solve this without using Desmos, because I want you to see where these square roots came from. So what I'm going to do here is I'm I'm gonna go ahead and add 10 on both sides, okay, and then I will, so 0 plus 10 is 10. Next I will take off the 2/3 by multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 3/2. So that crosses everything out, and then you have x squared equals, that's 10 divided by 2 is 5, and then 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, you can put that in decimals if you want, but it's 15. And then here, to get rid of the square, you want to take the square root of both sides. And remember, in class we talked about how whenever you take the square root, you always have the plus or minus, and I'll just say square root of 15. So this is where my two solutions come from: positive 15, square root of 15, and negative square root of 15. Okay. All right, number 7. Mauricio decided to create a rectangular vegetable garden in her backyard. The length of the garden was 6 feet longer than its width and covered an area of 160 square feet. How many feet of fencing does she need? Okay, so, all right, guys, here's what's going on. So we have a rectangle, and it says that the length of the garden is 6 feet longer than its width. So you have your width, and then the length is the width plus 6 feet longer. So it tells you that the area is 160. So the area we know is when you multiply these two, so that's 160 has to equal to the width times your length, which the length is width plus 6. Okay, so we have a formula here. I can go ahead and figure out what the width is by plugging it in decimals. I don't want to take too much time solving it. So when I'm plugging it in, just a reminder to put x instead of w. We saw that in the previous problem. So you have x plus 6. And then I have two solutions, one negative and one positive. I'll go ahead and take the positive. So the width is equal to 10. Okay? So the width is equal to 10. Now be careful here. That's not my answer, because it says how many feet of fencing do you need? So a fence is when you have just the outside. So whenever you have a fence, you're looking for the perimeter, not the area. I already know what the area is. Now I'm looking for the perimeter. So remember, the perimeter is 2 times your width plus 2 times your length, and remember your length is w plus 6. The w plus 6 came from this, 6 feet longer. Okay, so here's another formula here, but I'm not going to solve for w. I already know what w is. My w is 10. I'm trying to find what p is. So what I'm going to do is, for my w, I'm going to plug in what I know, which is the width, which is 10, okay, plus 2, and then 10 plus 6, and then that is equal to, where's this one? 2 times your width plus 2 times your length. Your length is 16 because width plus 10, or you can just plug it in if you want, which is 52 feet. Okay, that was a hard problem. Yeah, next. Alright, Mina correctly solved for 4 quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. The last line of her work for each equation are shown below. Match the statement that best describes the solution or solutions to the equations Mina was working. Alright, so Mina has these 4 different situations, and everything matters from where underneath the radical. Okay, so the first one underneath the radical is a negative number. So anytime you have a negative underneath the radical, it is a no solution. Okay, it is a no solution. If you want to do it in Desmos, this is how I would do it in Desmos to see the no solution. So you're going to do it's always nice to put the fraction bar first. So you have -2 plus, I don't have a plus or minus, so I have to do it separately, divided by -38 over 6. It's going to give me an undefined. That's how you know it is a no solution. Even the negative version is also undefined, so that's how you know it's a no real solution. Okay. The next one here, I have square root of 36, and I know what square root of 36 is. That's 6, right? So that means that I'm going to have a nice rational solution. If you want to go ahead and plug them in, so here you have 36, and then notice the bottom change to a 5. Rational or irrational, one of the solutions. Bottom change to a 5. This also bottom change to a 5, right? Okay. So I do have two solutions here. So I have two real solutions, but I have two options for real solutions. One is a rational solution, one is an irrational solution. So irrational solution is when you have a bunch of numbers. These two look like irrational solutions, but let me show you answer choice C and show you the difference, okay? So let me just plug it in. -2 plus square root of 8 over, oh, my bad. What am I doing? This is supposed to be 36. There you go. This was supposed to be 36. There. So these two are rational solutions because the decimals are just nice and clean. They get cut off, right? But for this one right here, see how they look irrational? They are irrational solutions. You have -2 plus, minus square root of 8 over 5. Okay, so these two solutions with the square root of 8 are irrational. Let me mark it. These are irrational solutions. And then with the square root of 36, these are two real rational solutions. Okay? All right, last one. You have -2. You have 5, and then the top plus square root of 0, which is just 0, is -4. And then when I put the minus, not that minus, but the minus from here, the plus or minus, square root of 0 over 5, you get the same answer. So when you get the same answer, that means it's just one solution. Okay? Phew, that was that. I am 100% sure you'll get a question like this. I don't think they'll ask all 4 different situations, but they might just ask you for one and identify what type of solution. So you should know how to do this just in Desmos, okay? All right, number 9, fill in the correct boxes. What is the solution for this? All right, so here's the problem. I can put it in Desmos, but the problem is I have to drag the numbers, and this is telling me that I have to use a quadratic formula. So I will give you the quadratic formula on the SOL. The day of the SOL, you'll get a formula sheet, and it will have the quadratic formula, which is, let me bring it up. Here's the Algebra 1 formula sheet that you will get. They'll print this out for you. So here is the quadratic formula, okay? It's right there. So the quadratic formula is going to be, oh, I haven't memorized, okay, I don't need to copy it down. So it's x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You do need to know how to use this formula. So first things first, how do you know what a is? Well, a is the coefficient of x squared, which is, there's a 1 here. b is the coefficient of x, which is -6, and then c is the constant, which is 2. So we're going to plug these numbers in here. I plugged all the numbers in. Notice I used parentheses because this just helps, and then I'm going to now solve this using Desmos. Now we cannot just put everything in Desmos, so usually when you're doing this, you want to put just the part that's underneath the radical, this part in Desmos first, without the radical. So you have -b, -6 squared, minus 4 times a times c, square root of 28, okay? So you have here x equals let me go ahead and do this. So negative is +6 plus or minus square root of 28, okay? All over, I'll go ahead and do this as well. 2 times 1 is 2. All right, now the square root of 28. This part has to be simplified, and we know how to simplify square roots, right? Because we know how to do them in Desmos. We practiced them on the beginning of this review. So when we are doing square root of 28, it's going to be a decimal, so that doesn't help us, right? So backtrack. To simplify, I'm going to put 28 divided by x squared. If it's a square root, you put x squared. Turn it into a table, click on the last number, enter, 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 and then there you go. It simplifies down to 2 square root of 7, okay? So this is going to be equal to 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 7 over 2. Now this over 2, what happens with this one, let me kind of just do that, I don't want to rewrite everything, is basically gets divided by each of the terms, okay? So now you have 6 divided by 2, which is 3, plus or minus, the 2's get cancelled out, square root of 7. So in this question, you would take this, put the 3 here, plus or minus square root of 7, okay? I wish there was another way to do this, because Desmos doesn't help us. This is not a multiple choice, nothing, right? So you kind of have to know how to use the quadratic formula, all right? All right, and then number 9, what are the number of solutions? Okay, this is an easy one. Remember, solutions are only x-axis, so only the x-axis. So this one has 1 solution, this one has 2 solutions, and this one has nothing. It has 0 solutions. Okay, and is that it? Oh, I have some more. Okay, that's okay. At least we have some graphs here, because graphs are super helpful. All right, select all the correct answers. All right, Sarah solved the equation x minus 2, x plus 3 equals -4. She uses a graphing technology to help her. Below are the functions and the graphs. So here, the first function she put in was looks like the left side, which is this parabola right here. And then the other one is -4, okay? So what are the solutions? Now, I know I told you it's the x-axis, but the problem is it's only the x-axis if your equation was equal to 0. If this was equal to 0 and not 4, then yeah, you could have just said, well, the solutions are -3 and +2. But since I don't have it set equal to 0, it's going to be where they cross each other, okay? So the solutions are actually going to be -2 and +1. This is like the system of equations that we did earlier, okay? Those are my 2 solutions, -2 and +1. I do want to show you another way you can do this. You can just ignore all of this mess here, and if you want to, you can go ahead and plug this part in Desmos, and then you'll find the right answers that way as well. I do want to show you that because, you know, any way to get the right answer, I will show it to you. Because I want you to pass this SOL. Equals -4. Press that and look, -2 and +1. -2 and +1. Alright? Alright. I think I have one more question here. Which graph has a solution set -4 and 0? Okay, well, remember, a solution is only the x-axis here. -4 and x equals 0. It's A. There you go. -4 and 2, that doesn't work. -2 and +4, no. 0 and +4. So this one's kind of flipped. Anyway, it's 12. Alright. Alright, you guys, I'll stop the video here. And it's a long video, but we only have one video to watch today. Alright, thanks, guys.